Hello, you are listening to Mind Your Business, the podcast that lets you get to know the stories behind some of your favourite Scottish businesses. Hope you enjoy the episode. This week's episode is brought to you by The Secret Garden Rooms. The Secret Garden Rooms are based in a peaceful, tranquil location in Kirkcaldy, Fife. They offer a range of face and body treatments, specialising in pre- and postnatal treatments, lymphatic drainage and oncology massage. They offer relaxing experiences during and after treatment for cancer. To make an appointment and for a full list of offerings, please visit www.thesecretgardenrooms.com or find them on Facebook and Instagram at The Secret Garden Rooms. So hello and welcome back to another episode of Mind Your Business. Now this week I'm joined by Pamela from Content Clarity. Hi Pamela.
Hiya.
So we'll get into how you got started with the business and all that good stuff. But to start with, why don't you kind of give us a wee nutshell what you do at Content Clarity?
So Content Clarity is a content marketing company, obviously, given the name. It is an online coaching and courses company, so kind of like breaking the mold. It's fairly obviously common across in the States. They tend to do all these things first, don't they? But I thought, do you know what, I'm going to take that business model and do it in the UK.
So when was that you kind of had the idea, like budding to start this?
It's crazy. I probably had the idea about 18 months to 2 years ago, and it took me an inordinate amount of time, all the excuses to get it finally up and running, because I actually have another business that I run as well. So I was like, struggling with time and getting everything up and running, and 101 reasons why not to finally push the button. But I finally got it up and running in September last year. So it's probably been on the go for 4 or 5 months now.
Yeah, still quite new then.
Still quite fresh, yeah, still quite daunting, still got the other business, so still sort of running both side by side. But, the long-term idea is to kind of pivot away from my traditional marketing agency where it's, time for money,
right,
into this whole online coaching and courses kind of idea.
So your other business is still in like the marketing kind of realm?
Yeah, so still like retainer-based clients, helping people with their social media, scheduling things for them, traditional marketing, all that whole sort of game. So, but yeah, it's the hope is to sort of pivot away, like I say, but I've still got a few clients at the minute. Whilst I'm building up this business.
Yeah, that's the thing, yeah, because you've got to keep going with the thing that's actually making you money.
Yeah, exactly that. You've got to keep the money coming in, although every business coach in the world that I've spoken to is like, just give it up, that'll give you the determination to keep going. And I'm like, no, I have 2 children.
It's scary, yeah, just to kind of go out on a limb and give it
up. Yeah, definitely. But no, it's been an interesting journey, and exciting times.
Yeah. So what were you doing before you started both the businesses then? What was like your job before this?
I worked a very sort of traditional 9-to-5 marketing job. I've worked for numerous companies, big, small, for probably about 10 to 12 years in total. The sort of usual 9-to-5 thing of, chasing the job title, chasing the promotion, never even contemplating for a second of starting up my own business. And never kind of came along and sort of was like, nah, to hell with that. And I get made redundant when I was 2 weeks into my maternity leave, at my very high profile marketing manager position. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And so that kind of really threw me for a loop. I hadn't actually had my baby at that point.
Oh my God, it's a stressful time already without adding that to the mix, eh?
Yeah. And as a lot of people do in a 9-to-5, you don't stop. You just kind of, you go from school into a job, you chase the next, a promotion. And the idea, like I said, of starting my own company never even dawned on me. And when I got made redundant, I did my figures and did my sums, and I was like, I could actually make way more money in way less time, not have to commute, not have to have the childcare in place.
Yeah.
And so it kind of slowly dawned on me, and it was almost like, oh, this is actually turning out to probably be the best thing that's ever happened to me, which is rare because people hear redundancy and think, oh my goodness me, but
totally.
It's actually worked out for the best. And yeah, who would have thought that 3 or 4 years later on, I would have 2 companies. And, sometimes the thought of even starting up your own company for some people is just like, oh my goodness me, like, how do you even start that? Like, getting a business bank account and registering the company name. But it's just, none of that stuff scares me anymore. And actually, I've got a third company idea in my head as well. It's just, it's like, hold me back.
Give yourself even more work.
Yeah. Definitely.
Did you kind of spend a lot of your maternity leave planning and plotting and kind of starting the business then, or did you take some?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, the first thought was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And I'm not going to lie, like, I probably cried for about 2 days straight, but it was very quickly, I kind of like gave myself a bit of a slap around the face and was like, well, there's nothing I can do about this. Thankfully, the company that I worked for at the time was still liable to pay for my statutory maternity pay for, I think it was 9 months or whatever anyway. So technically at that point in time, I wasn't actually any worse off, other than the fact that I knew I had no job to go back to.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm just going to enjoy my time. But yeah, there was that sort of plotting and planning in the background of what am I going to do? TikTok.
Yeah.
So, no, it was quite scary. And I actually chickened out of setting up my own company because I was like, oh, there's so many other people doing that. I'll just chicken out. I'll just reach out to one of the people who are already doing it. And once I saw the inner workings of the company and saw there was nothing to fear, I was like, nah, I can do this myself. So it was a kind of nice wee stepping stone into getting the balls I needed to push ahead.
Just go for it.
Absolutely. No, I'm sure, as you know, it's like setting up a business is quite daunting.
So do you think if like you hadn't been made redundant, do you think you would still be in like the 9 to 5?
Oh yeah. I would still be in that hamster wheel chasing, like, oh, I'm a manager, oh, I should go for a director position, and absolutely, no doubt about it. Completely blinkered to the idea that there's anything outside of that world.
Yeah. I imagine that's quite a stressful world, like if everyone's kind of fighting to get on top and move forward. And
it is, and it's like I think that it's all the time, and I don't know if it's a generational thing. Like, I'm 37, but when I was at high school, there was kind of like this expectation of, you get your standard grades and higher, God knows what they're called now, but then you go on to college or you go on to university, which I went on to university, then you graduate and you get a job, and it's all about aiming higher.
Yeah.
And you never stop, but you never think, actually, what do I want out of life? Like, because there's so much more to life than just working. And so, yeah, you just get stuck in this hamster wheel.
Yeah, you're just always thinking about the next thing,
Yeah. I hope it's kind of different now. Having 2 girls myself, I kind of hope that when they get to high school that there's, different options on the table. It's not just all about further education. It's like, if you want to start your own company, this is how you would do it. It's like, I hope there's, those kind of options are on the table for them.
Yeah, hopefully. I think there should be anyway, because even when I was at school, there was no one ever mentioned like starting a business or like apprenticeship. Like if you weren't going to uni, you were to leave, basically.
Yeah, that's exactly how it was. I always remember there being a class in 6th year where it was like, this, this class is for filling out your university application form. And it's like, what if you don't want to go to university? It's like, I'll just go and do whatever you want for the hour. And it's like,
yeah,
what?
Surely now, like with the amount of people starting businesses and stuff, they have to kind of change, surely.
Absolutely. And it's crazy when you think about all the sort of agencies and things that are out there, Business Gateway, Elevator, all these kind of places. You think, why are they not in the schools, or why are they not getting the airtime at that young age? It's crazy.
Yeah. So when you kind of made that decision to like jump and go alone, how did you start sort of building up the client base and like all that scary stuff? Because it's hard starting it from nothing.
It is, it absolutely is. And like, I'm quite an introvert. I'm like terrified of going out and networking and speaking to people. And hilariously enough, my first 2 clients were previous employers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they were quite big clients as well. So that was amazing to be able to sort of, start up and just approach them. And the timing was just right, obviously. But that was great because that was like an instant relief of like, okay, I don't have to like go out and do all the scary things like networking. I can just, I'm great for now. I've got a great foundation here. But yeah, I mean, I did have to bite the bullet and reach out to more people and try to. But I've been quite lucky in that respect as well. I think where I am, up in Aberdeen, just outside of Aberdeen. It's like, if you want to work with a marketing company, they're all based in the city centre, but there's so many of these local companies that are out with that don't want to travel into the city centre, and the city centre companies aren't necessarily interested in them either. So it worked out quite well for me.
Yeah, no, that's good that you got that quite quickly and you don't have that panic.
Yeah, it was. I think it was probably more of a fluke than anything else. I think it was just good timing.
And when it comes to like the more online side, like the content clarity side of things, was that the same? Was it just kind of putting yourself out there? And
yeah, I mean, that was an entire learning curve, because it's a completely different business model. I kind of got to a place where with my agency AB51, where I was like, I can't take any more clients on. I've only got so much time in my week. How am I going to make any more money? How am I going to break this income ceiling that I've created for myself? And I was like, I don't want to hire any more people. I don't want to be in charge of people. I don't want to run an agency, have premises and staff. That's not what my passion is. And it probably took me a year of running like that before my friend actually said, have you heard of this micro business model? I was like, no, absolutely not. And so when she explained it to me, I was like, that is absolutely ideal. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So that's kind of like where it all started. But yeah, a massive learning curve because, courses, there's so many courses out there on various different things. Where do you host them? Like how do you, the technology with, doing these coaching sessions online, you're not turning up at someone's office. It's, Skype and all these sorts of things, and huge learning curve. It was like being back at school trying to work everything out. It was just, it was really scary actually, but finally getting there now.
Take it one thing at a time and sort of.
Yeah, absolutely. And the naivety, and I guess because I had it so good when I started AB51, the naivety of like, oh yeah, I just have to put the website live and start posting on social media and like all this business will just come my way. And it's like, no. I got lucky the first time, but no, the second time. And it's been quite the learning curve, definitely.
Yeah, I always think it must be hard when you see like people doing what you're doing. You have to show up all the time on social media. Like you're constantly putting yourself out there and like being raw with people, and like that must be so hard.
But this is the thing, and I mean, I've had a personal lifestyle blog called Scottish Family Living, where I was showing up for that all the time, and I fell out of love with it. I wasn't passionate about it, and I kind of felt like, I don't know, like I don't want to talk about my kids like that anymore. I don't want to put them out there on the internet, and so I fell out of love with that. But for this, like, I'm an absolute marketing geek. Like I'm the sort of person that goes on YouTube and watches old Coca-Cola adverts from the 90s. Like I'm an absolute geek when it comes to stuff like that. And so I'm hugely passionate. And for anybody that's questioning about showing up on social media and like, where do I find the energy and is it difficult? If you're doing something that you're really, truly passionate about, it's just an absolute doddle. It's just fun.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about something that you just absolutely adore. So yeah, no, I don't find that weirdly difficult, although I do find going out networking in person difficult, but showing up on social media, absolutely not a problem at all.
Yeah. Do you do like chatting on stories and stuff, or do you kind of show up that
way? Yeah, I love it. Honestly, Instagram, a lot of people, for the app's weird. Some people get like 4 stories before they get cut off. Some people get 12. Honestly, 12's not enough. You can't shut me up when I get started talking about marketing. I'm just like in the zone. So yeah, no, I just absolutely love it. Lives, IGTV. I was going to launch a YouTube channel in January until I broke my leg and had to put that in the back burner. But yeah, it's just I love what I do. So yeah,
that's amazing. Because I think you can tell sometimes when people are like, they feel they have to do like talking stories in their lives, and they're like I do it, like it makes me feel sick every time I have to do it. But I think you can tell when people are like, they love it and they're like, it's so easy to them, and I think those are the good ones to listen to and watch. And
and then, like I say, you can't shut me up. And then when you're having to subtitle the stories as well, you're there for like about half an hour later typing it all out.
That's the thing. I've been looking for some kind of like subtitle, like captioning thing, but I can't find one. So I sit
It is. It's a bit of a nightmare. I've tried a few different things. I've tried recording it on my phone, using a like a third party thing, and then uploading it. And I've tried so many different things. But actually, to be honest, just typing it quickly is just as quick as anything else.
Yeah, I think the Scottish accent throws it anyway.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I did try one where it like dictates it, and it was nowhere near what I was actually saying. So
no, absolutely, it gets it way wrong. So no, it's better just typing it out quicker.
Yeah. So when it came to like building up your products, like on the online side of things, like your courses and your one-to-ones and stuff, did you always have like an idea of what you wanted to offer, or was that kind of like a process?
Yeah, I mean it's a constant learning curve, because you, like, what I initially did was built a few courses that I thought were kick-ass courses, and then you can think, I've literally just made a course where I teach someone everything there is to know about video editing, and it's like, but that's not what people want to know. They just want to know how to do it quickly. They want to know how to get from A to B. They don't want to know everything there is to know. So it was like, all right, okay, I need to rein that back in a bit and actually create a course that transforms something in their business, and not teach them everything there is to know about it, because you don't need to know. I mean, I'm in the middle of creating a Facebook ads course, and it's like, you don't need to know everything there is to know about Facebook ads. What you need to know is how to just set up a few campaigns that are actually just going to sell you something.
Yeah.
And so for me, that was a big learning curve, as well as the technology. It's trying to create stuff that people wanted, and listening to your audience as well. Again, what you might think is a great idea for a course, and then you go to the effort of making it and you launch it, and people are like, no, not really, that's not what our problems are. So you've got to really, really sound out your audience, and use polls on stories and all that sort of thing to vet every idea before you go to the effort of creating something. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time creating these courses and sales pages for services that actually, it's like, people are like, nah, that's not really what we need help with.
Yeah, that must be hard when you like launch something, like if you've not done all that research and you launch it and then it just flops. That must be...
Oh yeah. But any sort of course creator, any of the big names out there as well from the States, that's exactly the first start point. You kind of almost have to have that sort of failed attempt, so you're like, oh, okay. And it's a constant learning curve, and people say all the time in business, if it was so easy, everybody would be doing it.
Yeah, totally.
And the one thing that you don't see behind the scenes of any successful business person, like, is their failures. You just don't, and you make assumptions that it worked for them overnight, but you didn't see the 10 years of them working in their garage trying to get it working. It's we put a lot of hard pressures on ourselves as business owners, I think, a lot of the time.
Totally. So do you have a service that's like a bestseller, or like even one of your favorites to do?
I absolutely love the strategy sessions that I do. I only do them quarterly, because obviously the whole idea is that we plan out your social media content and your blog content for the whole quarter. And map it all out on a calendar system. I use something called Trello. And it just makes it completely seamless. So it takes away that fear, that a lot of people get, like, oh God, what am I going to post today? Or what am I going to post this week? What am I going to talk about in stories? So we map all that out. So then that fear is completely taken away. Literally, they just have to follow this program of events, really. And that's my favorite, because every person is different. Every business is different. Everyone's got a different comfort level in terms of, like you said, you don't like necessarily speaking on stories or lives, but you'd probably be happy to record a podcast, or you'd be happy to do a blog post or something like that. So everybody's content type that suits them is different. And so, it's great. I love doing them. I did one of them yesterday with someone, and it's great fun.
Yeah, and that must be so helpful for them, just to not have to think about content for like 3 months.
Yeah, it's literally, I mean, obviously they have to create it. We don't sit and create it, but we plan it. So they still have to then maybe write the caption or write the blog post. But yeah, I mean, it's all sitting there, calendarized, ready for them to get started. So no more of this blank page kind of like fear feeling, when you've opened up your Facebook app or open up Instagram, you're like, oh my God, what am I going to post? It's 10 to 5 on a Friday and I've not been on yet.
I know, that's the fear. I get that in the morning sometimes when I've not got anything. I'm like,
just post any old thing, but
Yeah.
you're better not doing that, You're better.
Absolutely not. So many people are like, oh, I'll just put something out, anything out, just to put, just for something. And it's like, no, that 10 minutes that it would take you to go and find the photo and write the caption and plan out the hashtags, like, you're actually better to spend that 10 minutes, stop, look back at what's worked, what's not worked, and actually purposefully show up even a week later with a series of content that you know is actually going to work.
Yeah, totally.
Throw something out there and hope for the best. It's like, throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping it sticks.
I think it's just a panic, like you think, oh, I need to be posting 5 times a week.
It's rabbit in the headlights. And another thing that people think, oh, if I'm going to use Instagram, I have to post every day. And it's like, but posting every day, posting rubbish stuff every day versus posting 3 times a week, really good quality content that's been engaged with. It takes the same amount of time to create content that doesn't work than it does to create content that does work. So you might as well, plan it out, think about it, figure it out, and create the content that you know is going to work for you.
Yeah, instead of the panic.
Yeah, the rabbit in the headlights look is not good. But we've all been there.
Totally. So when it comes to the branding for the business, where did the name come from, first of all? Did you have any other names in the run-in, or was that always like the go-to?
Oh, yeah. I mean, so many names. And originally I was thinking, will I just keep it all under my original company name, AB51, and just put courses on there. And actually I was going to do that, and the name Content Clarity just randomly came to me, and I was like, that would be a good name for a course. And my friend was like, actually, that'd be a good name for a company. And I was like, yeah, you're right. So that was kind of like where it came about, really. And I still remember, and cringe to this day, that like when you think of a great company name and you check to see if the URL's available and the social media handles are available, and they were all available, but the .com was available, but it was, GoDaddy were selling it for something like $2,000 or something like that.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh my God, but I managed to get them down to 850, which to this day I'm like, I can't believe I paid $850 for a URL.
Oh my God. But
I did, like, a crazy panic buying.
That's so expensive then. I've never seen one that expensive.
No, it's some URLs, obviously Content Clarity, I forget what the grammatical name is for when 2 words have got the same first letter. But there's a lot of people buy these up, especially like people like GoDaddy or 123reg, all these kind of things, and they sit on them because they know that somebody will come up with that company name at some point and they'll make a quick buck off of it. So
right. Oh, that's so sneaky.
I know, it's crazy, and it's not illegal in this country either. It's wild. So yeah, I can see people out there scratching their heads thinking, that's a great idea for a business, I'll just buy up all these domain names.
By the way, there's a business in itself.
Yeah, exactly. Gosh, I wonder who it was that got my money. Someone somewhere sitting in the Bahamas or something, probably.
Totally. So I take it that's just a one-off then? You won't have to pay that like every year? Or
No, that was just a one-off. Thankfully I got the .co.uk for like a penny or something, but
all the ones I've ever tried to do, it's like £4 or something, and you get one for 20p.
Never again, so never again am I going to do that. But I don't know, it was one of these weird gut instinct moments where I was like, personally I don't care, but the last thing I would want, being a .com, is for somebody in the States to come up with that company name and buy that.
Yeah.
And then there's another company out there with the same company name as me. It was almost like a security thing more than anything else. I was like, well, and I mean, people could still buy, content-clarity.com.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't stop people having the same company name as you, but yeah, crazy decision making moment if I could go back in time.
That will haunt you forever.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the branding, like your logo and stuff, and on social media, like your graphics and everything are so cool. Was that the idea, or did you go through different?
Oh, so many color palettes. I mean, I am not a graphic designer by any stretch of the imagination, but I can use Photoshop and InDesign. And so much time was spent on Pinterest, because I like all the different styles. Like, I like pink stuff that's really girly, but I like the like really bold stuff as well, and the big chunky fonts, and I like all of it.
Yeah.
And then I try and put something together, but then I'm influenced by all these styles that don't go together. And yeah, there was some messy moments, let's just say, of me trying to be like, I like this really bold colour, but I like this really pale colour. And yeah, back and forth. And in the end, I wasn't 100% happy with it. I was like, it feels like it's lacking something. So recently, I got a graphic designer to help me out with my Instagram like feed of how it's looking and stuff, and create me some templates. Because I was lacking like patterns and things. So yeah. But now I've just got the website to go back and try and revamp, because it's been left behind with the old branding. But you can't do it all at the same time, can you? It's like
no, your Instagram looks amazing though, and like even the pictures you take of yourself, like how do you make those? Or the ones like the one I posted on Magrid the other day, where the icons come to your head.
And again, this is the thing. It's like I'm an absolute geek when it comes to learning how to do all these different techniques. And like so that one, I mean, obviously taking the photo was really easy to do, but then actually going into Photoshop and then doing all that, it probably took me about 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah,
when you think about it, it's like, okay, I just spent 3 to 4 hours creating that, and what benefit did it get me? So I kind of have to sometimes rein myself back in and pay attention to my own rules. Do you know what I mean? It's like, was that really worth it? Was that really worth the 4 hours it took me to do? It was fun. Don't get me wrong, it was fun, and I loved every minute, but was it worth it? Probably not.
What would you say to a client if they said they'd spend 4 hours on one post?
I was like, no, just get more content out rather than that. It's like you could have done something else. You probably could have done about 3 YouTube videos in that time.
Totally. No, it's so cool though, and I think it's just something a bit different. It catches people's eye when they're.
It is, and it's something that I like doing. There's somebody that I follow on my blog account called All That Is She, or All. Yeah, I think that's what she's called. She's very well known, and she actually teaches people how to do that type of style photo on Instagram. It's huge for like lifestyle bloggers, family bloggers. And I was like, I'm going to bring that into the business world, because it's not something that I've seen in the business world. So but I'm a million miles away from what she does. She's got a camera up in a ceiling and does basically like flat lays with like sheets and stuff like that, and creates these amazing scenes where it looks like our kids are like swimming underwater, but it's just a heap of sheets lying on the floor, and it's crazy, absolutely wild. I'm maybe not quite that dedicated, but
I have done it before where I like strapped my phone to the ceiling and took a shot of my desk and stuff, and I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah. Sometimes you just think, is it worth it? Because there's people out there who don't do any of this stuff, who are, making an inordinate amount of money. Sometimes you've got to think to yourself, you just stop.
It's too easy to get sucked in, I think.
Very, very, very easy to get sucked in, for sure.
So you've mentioned obviously that you have your 2 little girls. So juggling family life, business, personal life, is that a toughie? It
has, and again, like, to use the sort of phrase I'm coining throughout the whole interview here, is like, it's a learning curve, but it's again, I left my 9 to 5, and ironically what I created in my first business was a complete mirror image of what I left. It was like, I was so used to working Monday to Friday 9 to 5 that's exactly what I set up for myself. Even though obviously at that point I just had a baby, and I was like, well, she'll have to go to nursery 5 days a week, because I have to work Monday to Friday 9 to 5. And the reality is, did I really have to do that? No. And I very quickly kind of dropped that down to 4 days. So that I could spend a Friday with her. But she's away to start school after the summer, and I've already sort of thought to myself, well, if I'm working 4 days 9 to 5, that's 29 hours a week. School hours Monday to Friday is 25, so actually I could drop them off and pick them up every day. And hopefully this is why I want to like break the sort of turnover ceiling that I'd created in my first business. The reason I want to do Content Clarity is so I can break that, so that I can actually spend more of the holidays with them as well, because childcare and holidays can cost an absolute fortune. But there's just so many holidays now. I think it's like 13 weeks.
Oh my God.
Holidays in a year. And if you think about it, it's like if you're 2 parents that work a 9 to 5 and you get 4 or 5 weeks each, that doesn't even add up to 13. So even if you were to take separate holidays, it still doesn't add up. So no, it would be good to spend a bit more time with them and spend that money that I would have spent on childcare on actually doing something really cool with them, you know.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, childcare. Like, you hear people spending their whole monthly wage just on like nurseries and stuff, and
It's wild. It's wild. I mean, that was something I did again with my first. I've got 2 girls, but again, I was in that sort of 9 to 5 hamster wheel, and it was just something you did. And I think the bill for nursery at the end of the month is like, it was like £1,100. You think, Jesus, to turn up at my work, it's like,
that's mad.
I know, you think about, and I need a car to get there, and I need fuel, and I need to obviously have like clothes that I can wear to the office. And you actually start thinking about it, it's like, I could actually work from home in my jammies, kid in the next room. It's wild, yeah.
Yes. So do you kind of have any time to yourself?
Yeah, I do try to stick to Monday to Thursday. You probably won't find me on Instagram over the weekend in terms of posting and going on stories and stuff. I'm a big fan of evenings and weekends are my time. I love nothing more than just watching junk TV, EastEnders, Coronation Street, all that sort of trash. So that's kind of like my downtime for sure, is like once the kids are in bed in the evening, I'm not switching that laptop on. Because I think as well as, what suits different people is completely up to them. But for me, I tend to find it if I'm working in the evening, especially past 8 o'clock at night, I'm wired, I'm so in the zone that when I then go to bed, I'm like, I can't sleep because I'm like, it's churning around in my head.
Yeah, I think it's important. Like, it's hard. You feel like you should be working all the time when you're like a business owner. And I think on Instagram and stuff, you see a lot of people talking about like, oh, Saturday and I'm still working away, and I'm like, I'm on the couch.
Yeah, you got to have time to yourself. And something that I really want to sort out this year is to be more intentional about my work time. Make sure that I write a to-do list for the next day, the night before, so I know what I'm starting, as soon as I get into the office. And just, really being a bit more intentional. It's so easy to get distracted, especially if you're posting on social media. You pick up your phone to maybe check something, and then an hour later, so yeah.
When so much of your work is on social media, it's like really hard not to get sucked in.
It really is. It absolutely is. But that's when it's like, I really want to get more intentional with it. It's like, if I'm going to do some research on social media, I'll set aside an hour, or, maybe set a timer or something like that. So I don't spend any more than 15 minutes at a time, engaging with people or replying to comments. It's, more intentional, less procrastination.
Timers are good for that. I've started setting timers for everything.
Yeah, it's really good.
I wanted to chat a bit more about social media. I've got some questions. I put out a wee call on Instagram. Let me just get my questions up. Got quite a lot of good ones, actually. So, first one here. Do you have any favourite apps for creating or scheduling social media content?
There's so many out there, and obviously it depends on everybody's independent skill set of what they're prepared to learn, and a lot of things are paid for as well. Obviously, if you're going to hit the big ones first, like Adobe, Photoshop and all that, it's such a steep learning curve there. And obviously the cost as well of having it. But there are free ones out there. I would always turn personally to Photoshop and InDesign first. But that being said, Canva's a great free one. Adobe Spark as well is a really, really good one, which is on your mobile. I believe it's free as well, so you don't need to have a paid Adobe subscription to use it. And you can access all these presets and templates, similar to Canva, if anybody knows what that is. But the thing I love most about Adobe Spark is that you can animate them, and they're a bit different as well. You probably find that with Canva, so many people are using it, that you kind of start to see the same templates popping up time and time again. So the good thing with Adobe Spark is that it's fresh and it's a bit different. So chances of you getting something that nobody else has used yet, it's quite good. But in terms of scheduling, again, there's so many out there, different prices as well. I've always used Tailwind for scheduling to Instagram and Pinterest, purely because I've been doing it since day dot, and it was the first scheduling software to allow you to post to the Instagram feed. I know, like, you've got Later and Planomaly now, but Tailwind was the only one at the time, and so I've had no reason to step away from it. So I still use that. If I'm looking at, client work for AB51, I'm using Hootsuite for a lot of the sort of major ones. But that's very expensive. I'm finding that a lot of the solutions out there are just, their prices are crazy.
Yeah, some of them are. You just have all these monthly things going out just for social media.
Yeah.
I just have one, but I think you only get maybe like 3 accounts or something, so it's not.
Yeah, and again, you've got to watch as well, because a lot of clients as well, if you're doing social media marketing for companies, a lot of them want to have access to it as well. So when you start looking at the number of users that you need, if you start encroaching, it can be into like thousands a year. It's
mad.
It can really tot up. So, but those ones are my favorite anyway.
Yeah, so see, when it comes to Facebook, I hear people sometimes saying that Facebook doesn't like third-party scheduling tools, and you get more engagement if you actually do it on Facebook. Is that?
Yeah. But again, it's it comes down to time at the end of the day. But you can say that, and then you can create a rod for your own back of saying, okay, I'm going to post directly onto Facebook rather than use a third-party scheduling software. But then you look at some of the massive entrepreneurs out there, and big businesses, like Coca-Cola and Volkswagen and all these. It's like, do you seriously think that there's some poor soul sitting in the office manually posting that to Facebook? They're not. They're using Hootsuite or they're using something else, and they just, it's fractional, and it's how much that extra 0.00% means to you. It's not really going to make or break. I've tried both for clients and for myself, and the time saved way outweighs the actual time spent on doing it. It's really not worth it. But I mean, again, it's you can get sucked in on these tiny little fractional details, and let it consume your life, or you can just try and achieve your goals in business, and just let these things slide. So
make it easy for yourself.
Absolutely, mate. Life's too hard, and creating content is already really hard without having to manually upload to everywhere. It's just like, no.
Yeah, no, life's too short.
Absolutely.
I have another question here. What are your thoughts on the like and follow pods, paying for followers and stuff like that? I think you did a post on this recently, didn't you?
I did. This is like soapbox central, but I will say I have tried everything in the book. On my personal blog account, I tried everything. It was like, if you're going to be working as an influencer, you're working with brands, the followers is something that PR companies and big brands always look at first. So it was like, I must get over 10,000 to get a swipe up on Instagram. And I tried everything, but to be honest, the bottom line of it is it's just not worth it. It's not sustainable. You're making a rod for your own back, because at the end of the day, as soon as you find these loopholes, the platforms are onto it, and they close them off. Yeah. So it's like, the post I put on my Instagram feed is like, do you invest all your time forever chasing the loophole in the algorithm, or do you spend that time working out what your audience actually want from you and create that instead? Because that's sustainable. Once you crack that nut, you've cracked it for good. Yeah. Once you crack the algorithm, you find the loophole, you crack it for a week and then you shut it. It's like just forever chasing the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It's crazy.
That's the thing, because I did it as well to start with a mother account, and it takes time, and then people notice if you suddenly go for 300 likes a picture to like 40.
Exactly, and it's soul destroying, because you kind of almost get used to having that. I'm used to getting 300 likes, and it's like, the first time you don't do it and you only get 20, it's like, it's like getting kicked in the back. It's like, oh God, you take it so personally. So it's really not worth it. And I know a lot of people do like these follow pods and like pods and all this sort of thing as well. And again, it's just not sustainable. It's like, at what point are you going to stop doing that? I mean, it's just going to hurt your engagement in the long standing and your account in the long standing. And again, it's like, platforms are not daft. A lot of people have these Facebook groups, and they link across to an Instagram post, and it's like, Instagram and Facebook are the same company. They can see you constantly back and forth. It's like, they know that's not natural engagement, and it's going to tarnish your account in the long run. So best to not do stuff like that. That being said, there are people that run quite small, specific, intimate support pods and things like that, and I would maybe, if you were going to do something like that, maybe find like a smaller group of maybe like 10 people where it's genuine.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you've got to think, are these people buying from you? They're not buying from you. So how much does that like or that engagement really count to you at the end of the day?
Yeah, that's all just vanity, isn't it? Like,
it really is, yeah.
Got a lot of likes and a lot of followers, but it's not actually converting into any sales.
Well, that's it. It's like, how many of those 300 likes, actually going to buy from you? They're not interested, not interested in the slightest.
No.
So, absolutely. That 10 minutes that it take you to do that, go and work out what your audience actually want. Hop on stories, put up a poll, and then create that bit of content and watch people go wild for it,
It feels so much better when you do that and you do get genuine engagement.
Absolutely. Yeah, because then you're not posting and worrying about it. And that's something as well, is like, people that post and it's like they're constantly checking every 5 minutes, how many likes have I got? Oh my God, it's totally tanked.
Yeah.
Post and walk away. Like there's, reply to comments, and obviously, there's things that you can do, engage on people's accounts an hour before you post. But at the end of the day, checking it every 2 minutes is not going to make or break what's going to happen. It's in the hands of the gods now.
Just walk away.
Walk away.
Right, I've got another one here. Should businesses be jumping on the content meme bandwagons? So when there's like a viral challenge or something going around, should we be jumping on it?
Yeah, trend jacking. It's an actual tactic. It's an actual thing. A lot of people maybe remember. I mean, if done right, it can be amazing. I don't know if people remember at Christmas time when John Lewis was doing the ad campaign with Elton John, and Lidl came out with the advert. I can't remember for the life of me what it said, but I do remember Lidl are quite good at doing it, jumping on the back of stuff. And if done right, it can be really, really good. But, don't just sit there and constantly look for these things. If it's relevant to what you do, by all means, do it. It is a great opportunity to go viral, but there's companies out there whose sole job it is to create content with going viral at the heart of it, and they're probably guaranteed success 1 in 20 attempts. It's like you're never guaranteed anything, but certainly it gives you a chance to get seen and get exposure by other people, and get in there early as well and get in there quick, and it can get shared and people might find it funny. Like the Jolly Parton challenge, I took part in it, and obviously the whole thing that people were doing was posting 4 different photos, and I actually posted 4 of the same photo, because it's like, why would you create your the same content in 4 different ways? Just repurpose it and put it across all 4.
Yeah, see, that was a good spin on it. So it's like the same kind of thing, but it's also relevant to what you actually do.
Yeah, if you've got a point to make, or if you think it's going to be quite fun and show off your personality, jump on it. But yeah, don't spend a lot of time jumping on the bandwagon with these things. It's like TikTok. How many people are jumping on the bandwagon with that? And it's like, is your audience actually there? Are you going to make any sales off of it? Because if the answer is no, then don't bother.
Unless your audience is children, maybe.
Well, yeah, there is that. But a lot of people jump the bandwagon because they hear these things of, oh my God, I managed to grow to 10,000 followers very quickly. And again, it's that whole vanity metrics thing of like, yeah, you got 10,000 kids. It's like, you've got to really, really think, am I going to get, always think strategy, and is it relevant? Because otherwise, again, it's just another social procrastination. How many hours are you going to spend on TikTok getting sucked into that rabbit hole?
And it'll be over as quick as it starts as well.
That's the thing as well. I always say to any new start with the main ones, start with the big ones where everybody is. I mean, thing with TikTok, I guarantee you there's nobody that's only on TikTok. If you're on TikTok, you're also on Instagram, you're also on Facebook, you're also on Twitter, so you're not missing out on that person.
No.
You're still reaching them with your content on a different platform.
Yeah.
So, but a lot of people just, they get that panic buy sense and are almost be on it,
I'm trying to avoid it. Right. How to prevent being overly salesy on social media?
Again, it comes down to being genuine and being natural. I have done course after course on the rules of engagement on Instagram, how to sell on Instagram, obviously with this new business. And there's so many tactics out there. I'm sure a lot of people have had people follow them, and within 6 hours they're getting DMs off them, sliding on into the DMs. How's your week going? What are you up to? And you just know that 3 messages from now I'm going to get the hard sales pitch.
You know what's going on.
Yeah. And I actually did a course, and one of the tactics was keep a spreadsheet. Keep a spreadsheet of everybody that you're trying to convert in the DMs, and it's just like, oh, that's just sucking the fun out. No. But again, like, I think if you are the sort of person who's extroverted, you love speaking to people, like being a sales advisor and a car dealership, or selling houses, being an estate agent would be your ideal job because you just love speaking to people. A tactic like that would probably be great, because you probably would lose like focus of how many folk you'd spoke to because you just love speaking to folk.
Yeah.
But if you're an introvert like me and speaking to people is like vomit inducing, then that's definitely not the tactic for you.
Yeah.
So no, I would definitely don't feel pressured into a tactic that doesn't suit your style, because it'll just come across, and you'll know it. You'll go into it knowing this doesn't come from a genuine place. This feels awkward, and that'll come across. So it definitely like find a tactic that works for you, and just be natural.
Yeah. So do you kind of stick to like the 80-20, like selling content and then like value add in content? Is that a good kind of way to?
I don't necessarily stick to a rule as such. I probably find that I over deliver as a bit of a tactic, but again, that's very much in my nature. I will always over deliver with value. I'll be on these strategy sessions that are meant to be 90 minutes, and 2 hours later I'm still there. It's just something, because I'm just so passionate and such a geek, and I love doing it, that I can't help but overshare. Again, that's not a bad thing, because how is that a bad thing for people to say, oh, well, she always over delivers, so I know if I buy a course from her, God, I'm going to get good value for money. It's not a bad thing. So I think sometimes when you really try to follow the rule book, you're not trusting your gut and you're not trusting your instinct, and you start to become unnatural. So I would definitely, don't go 100% sales for sure. Like, do not every day show up in social media and be like, 10% off, buy my thing, free delivery today. Don't do that. That's not going to get you anywhere. But I don't think there's ever anything is too much value.
Right. Doesn't need to be a hard and fast rule.
No, definitely not. It's what works for you at the end of the day. And again, it's like, there's people out there who all they do is give in their posts, and they're like multimillionaires. So it's like, don't hold back. But I've probably yet to see the person who sells in their social and has success at the end of it.
Yeah.
So
I don't like that. They don't like it shoved in their throat every single day, and
it's just noise at the end of the day, isn't it? It's not giving anything to anybody.
No. Keep it natural.
Absolutely.
Right. Are hashtags really that important, and how many should you be using?
Hashtags are super, super important, especially on Instagram. I mean, most places now actually are adopting the hashtag algorithm, but it's definitely how you're going to get seen. But there's a bit of a myth around hashtags. A lot of people have a loose understanding of, I'll just go for a hashtag that's relevant, so if I'm going to post a photo of the sky, I'll put hashtag sky. It's like, no. And they think, but 30 million people have put hashtag sky, so I'm going to get seen by 30 million people. It's like, no, it's not how it works.
No.
The strategy I always recommend to people is go for 5 big ones, 5 medium ones, 5 small ones. Right. The five big ones, the 30 millions, the 10 millions, those are the ones where it's so fast paced that when people are searching that hashtag and they're going through the most recent, you'll get some engagement off the back of that, and you'll get seen there. The small ones, you'll get the engagement because you'll actually show up in the top 9 for that hashtag, And if someone follows that hashtag, then you're actually going to show up in their newsfeed as they're scrolling. So then you'll get engagement and reach through that. And the 5 medium ones are just that sort of safe place of, if, for example, you're only showing up in the top 9 for things that have maybe got 1,000 posts or 1,000 images against it, push yourself, pick your 5 medium ones as 20,000, because you never know, you might just get lucky and get that exposure through that as well. So 5 of each. And again, I know it was a tail end of last year, there was a release came out from Instagram, and it's like, no more than 11 hashtags now. We'll consider it spam if you put them at the end of your post in one lump. I've yet to see any disadvantage to that. As soon as I saw that, I went down to 11. I was like, at 11, I'll try and put them throughout my caption, which is difficult. It's like, how can you fit in hashtag CEO or hashtag 9 to thrive or something like that throughout your post? So it is difficult, but I tried all that and tried to adhere to the rules. And actually it was like, I'm not getting any more or any less.
Right, it's not making a difference.
Yeah, so it didn't make any difference for me. So I'm kind of sticking around that sort of 15 mark at the minute. And again, there's a lot of statistics out there that I could bore the backside off of you with about whether you should post in the first comment or whether you should post in the caption, how many you should use based on how many followers you have. But ultimately, it's just finding that, trying those different things and seeing what works for you at the end of the day.
Yeah, there's so much conflict in information, because some people say you have to do all 30. That seems like a lot, and then I put them in the comment and I'm like, what if that's wrong? And
yeah, it's just being mindful and keeping track of what it is that you're doing. One of the things I would definitely say is have a good sort of research list of 60 to 90 that you can mix up and cherry pick from. Because if you're posting the same 30 or the same 15 or whatever every single post, then yeah, that's absolutely going to come across as spammy. But if you're mixing them up, again, it's like it's gonna work for you rather than against you. But like I say, I've tried it. I've gone down to 11. I've gone down to 5. I've gone back up to 15. I'm not noticing any drastic adverse effects off the back of that yet.
Right. So the 15's a good middle point.
Yeah, I kind of stick there. I can go a bit more. Sometimes I go a bit more. Sometimes I go a bit less. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, hashtags are purely there as a chance for you to get that additional reach beyond your followers. So keep an eye, and your insights, keep an eye on, if you scroll down to the bottom for that post, keep an eye on the amount of reach that you're getting from hashtags for that post. But also keep an eye on the amount of web visits, the amount of follows, the amount of profile views you're getting off the back of that. Because if you're getting the reach, but you're not getting any of these, conversion actions, then it's kind of almost like reach for nothing, So you gotta just keep an eye on that.
Yeah. Another one here. Are paid ads on Facebook and Instagram worth it, or is it best to keep it organic?
Ads, absolutely worth it when done right. I think I literally just put a post before I hopped on today saying, when you see that little thing at the bottom of it on Instagram or Facebook, and it's like 95%, this ad is performed or this post is performed better than 95% of your posts. Do you want to boost it? It's like, don't boost it. There's a thing called Facebook Business Manager where you'll find an ads manager. So many more targeting options, measuring options than boost alone. So many people do the boost thing and throw a $5 at it, and they turn around and they're like, oh, it didn't work. So that's it. I'm not going to bother with ads. It didn't work for me. And it's because they've not done it right. They've not really thought about it. They kind of almost did it on a limb, rather than think about the strategy and what they were hoping to get off the back of it. So ads definitely has a place. It's a winning strategy. I mean, especially when you compare it to traditional marketing methods these days. It's like TV, press, radio. It's like, you can't really hard measure any of these things. Whereas, that money spent, and a lot of people, they're jumping on TV because it's so cheap at the minute. There's a reason it's so cheap at the minute. Yeah, there's a reason why they're throwing free ad spend at you and then making it so, we'll make the ad for you. It's because there's nobody buying it. There's so much free space now, no one's buying it. And a lot of these people, have put TV on a pedestal and they think they've made it because it's like, oh, I can finally afford to be on TV. It's like, I always think, oh God, but if you'd spent that 10 grand or 5 grand on Facebook properly, oh my God, the sales you could have had, Yeah, it's they're definitely, when done right, and it's actually something I'm working on just now as a Facebook ads course, which is coming next week actually.
Yeah.
So no, if done right, it can be so powerful.
Yeah, because that would be helpful, like a course, because it is so hard. Like when you go onto the thing and it's just so much information, and you're
Yeah, and a lot of people just get bamboozled as well, because it's like, what do you want to do? Do you want to drive traffic? Do you want to get conversions? Do you want to get reach? Do you want to get engagement? And everyone's like, oh my God, I have no idea. Don't know which one I want.
yeah.
And that's when the results kind of creep in, because they didn't really know what they wanted and what they were trying to achieve. That's when you don't get the sales, because you kind of just throw money at it and hope for the best.
Yeah.
But there's good, and one of the things I teach is a sort of funnel based system where, we work through it systematically, and it's actually almost like 3 or 4 campaigns running together, piggybacking each other. To get sales at the end of the day. A lot of people, again, just they set up an advert and be like, buy my thing. It's like, no, don't just go straight in for the kill.
Yeah.
You got to systematically warm people up before they even see that ad. So
everyone should get your course then when that comes out.
Definitely.
Right. Thoughts on influencer marketing for product-based businesses?
It can be so powerful. There's so many great influencers out there who have so much reach, have really engaged audiences. But like anything, there's a lot of people out there who have bought their way into that position, and it's just being careful as a small business, especially, of knowing what to look for when it comes to working with influencers. It's not just going, oh, they've got 50,000 followers, I'm going to work with them. It's checking the engagement on the posts to make sure that, they've got the engaged audience there, because otherwise, what are you paying for?
Yeah.
And what I would recommend to any business or any PR company who's doing blogger outreach is always ask for a media pack, always ask for stats, screenshots even. Anybody who has got that engaged audience will not have a problem whatsoever with giving you that information. Especially if they're looking to charge you, £500, £1,000 for it. Not a problem at all. If people start to get a bit like, oh, no, I don't provide that, then, I'd certainly be thinking, well, why not, Yeah,
it's really easy just to make up numbers.
It really is, and that's the thing. Ask for a media pack, ask for screenshots for sure. Like I say, anybody who's genuine and who's got an engaged audience will be proud to show it off. Anybody who starts to ask questions has maybe got something to hide. So yeah, just bear that in mind.
Be wary.
Yeah, definitely. But it can be so powerful, so powerful, because these people have got engaged audience. They can literally just say, this is a face cream that I use, or this is the chocolate that I eat, and people are like, oh, okay then.
I need it too.
yeah. It's like celebrity culture back in the day, isn't it? It's like, Gary Lineker and Walker Crisps. It's that sort of thing. So when done right, absolutely. Just be asking for the right information.
Yeah. Right. Should I follow social content calendars?
Again, when done right, it can be really, really good. A lot of these calendars are there as prompts, and that's what people need to bear in mind, is they are prompts. It's not telling you to go out there and, share a photo of the sky and then not write a caption at all about it. It's there as a prompt. How does that fit in with your business? How is that applicable and relevant to what it is that you do? How can you use that prompt to tell your story, apply it to your service or your product? A lot of people just take it for what it is and think, oh, that's a get out of jail free card. I just have to post a photo of the sky, walk away, and my job's done. Tick, it's been done. It's not. It's a prompt. So we need to bear that in mind as well. And these days, there's so many people out there creating these things very, very niche to certain industries as well. It's like, take the time to research and see if there's one that's specific for your industry, because that would obviously be way more helpful than sky or look above or these sorts of prompts.
It's hard to keep up with them as well sometimes. I don't think I've ever finished one of those
No, and again, it's very much based on encouraging people to post every day, which is something that you should only really be doing once you've got it figured out. Once your content's working for you, by all means, turn up the volume, post every day, post twice a day on Instagram. But if it's not working for you, if you're getting, you know, an absolute tank post every time, posting every day is not the resolution.
No.
Posting every day is just showing the social media platform that people don't engage with your content. So why would they show it in the feed? So if anything, you're doing more damage than good there. So no, every time I see a 30-day posting challenge, part of my soul dies.
I suppose some of them are like relevant and like, as you say, industry specific and stuff, but
yeah. And yeah, just always bear in mind, it's a prompt. Don't take it too literal. It's for you and your creative ability and your business ability to be able to take that prompt and turn it into something that's going to be relevant for your audience.
Yeah.
Don't just post a photo of the sky and put hashtag sky and do a runner.
Right, I've got one here that says, how to market my business when I have no marketing or business experience.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, I mean, a lot of small businesses as well don't necessarily have a budget when it comes to marketing. And, you know, where do you start? Because there's so many things out there that you can be doing. One thing that I would say to anybody who's like, I don't have the knowledge, I don't have any business experience, I don't know what I should be doing, is certainly to be starting to cultivate an email list, because again, that can be used, even if you don't use it right away, that will be very powerful to you in the future. Always start with, you know, a couple of social media platforms. You don't have to be everywhere. You know, like I said earlier, you know, the people who are on TikTok are also on Facebook, are also on Twitter, you know, so don't feel like you need to be everywhere and dilute your message. Pick one, pick two that you think are more relevant to your business and your audience, you know. So if that's LinkedIn, go on LinkedIn, work it great. If that's Facebook, go there, work it great. You don't have to be an absolute business whiz or marketing whiz to make it work. You just need really, really good ideas. You know, it's like some of the world's most greatest entrepreneurs did not go to university and study marketing. You know, they did not study business. You know, some of the people dropped out of school and you know, like Alan Sugar and all these sorts of people, you know, started in a market. It's like these people, you know, you don't need these things. You know, it's not like, you know, collecting Pokemon cards. You don't need these things to have a successful business. You just need good ideas. So I wouldn't let any of that sort of stuff hold you back, for definite.
Yeah, don't let it stop you.
No, it's amazing the hurdles people put in front of themselves, though. You know, it's like, I can't do that because, and it's like, a lot of the time it's just nonsense. You know, it's like, you can just go and do it. Yeah,
just make the first step and then it'll
absolutely take action. And I get a lot of the time as well, it's a confidence thing. It's like, I don't feel confident enough to do it. But ironically, until you take that first step and then you see those amazing results come back in and you get that warm and fuzzy feeling, you're never going to build that confidence. So you kind of almost have to take action first. Confidence comes second, and then it's like a full cycle, isn't it? So
yeah, totally. Right, this is my last social media question. Like, got all your knowledge at you. Right, so how can you start building a strong brand on social media?
Again, it's just been quite consistent. A lot of things that people forget when they start a company is they maybe get a logo and they maybe don't get anything else. You don't necessarily need an entire branding pack or corporate identity pack to get started, but bear in mind, it's like, look at your logo, look at the colours that are being used, use those colours, find out what they are and use them, get that branding across. It's even just like little things like, you know, if orange is your brand colour, it's like, you know, paint your nails that colour or wear that colour jumper or something in some of your posts, or have an orange notebook that you hold up in a photo every now and then, so that even when you don't do graphical posts and you're doing physical photography, that branding still comes across. There is just like wee things that you can do just to bring that in, and there's just an absolute void of information out there of how to do these wee things to keep that strong brand across social media.
Yeah, even just the way you speak and like your tone of voice and stuff all kind of adds into it. And
absolutely, yeah, it's just being mindful, and you know, but again, if ultimately you're being genuine when it comes to tone of voice, if you're not trying to be too stuffy or something that's unnatural to you, then you almost don't even need to think about it because it's just came naturally to you. So
yeah, totally. Well, that was my last social media question.
Perfect.
Answering on them, that was. I feel like I learned so much.
Told you I was a total geek. Like, shut me up when I get started.
Yeah, so that's all my questions. So this is a wee section called Check Them Out that I do. So if you have any small businesses that you want to give a wee shout out, you can go ahead and do as many as you like.
Oh, right, cool. In terms of a great advocate for social media, showing up, how to be natural, someone who's like absolutely nailing it, go and have a look at Sarah at Pencil Me In on Instagram. She has got a stationery shop up in Elgin, but she sells online. And she is just absolutely like the epitome of everything that I've just said about being yourself, showing up, showing everything behind the scenes. So she's a really good one to go and have a look at when it comes to sort of like how should I look, or what sort of things could I be doing. She's absolutely nailing it. Another person who's absolutely nailing it is Nikki at West Home Interiors. She's actually a client of mine at AB51, and again, she is just being 100% herself. Her business came off the back of her being, she just kind of almost took over, almost like a bit of a Mrs. Hinch, very, very quickly, just through being herself on social media. And then she's wild about interiors. So just off the back of that, she set up her own home decor and accessories company online. And again, she's just absolutely killing it. And again, just being herself, as soon as you start to just be natural and be honest, it's fun, doesn't feel like work, and people can relate to you. Yeah. So a couple of good ones there in terms of, advocates of just being yourself and not trying to be overly, pretentious or overly polished or, any of these things. Just be yourself.
Totally. And I'll tag them both in the post when this goes live so people can check them out.
Excellent.
And the last thing is for you to plug yourself. So where can we find you online? What's your website?
Well, the website is that really expensive to name that I mentioned earlier. So contentclarity.com. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest. That's the 3 ones that I've decided to stick with. And the handle on those is just at Content Clarity. So that's where you'll find them. Like I say, I've got one-to-one service offerings if you want to work one-to-one with me, or there's a selection of courses, one of which is launching next week, which is the Facebook ads one called Amplify with Ads. So that'll be landing next week. So if you follow me, take a look out for that when that drops next Tuesday.
Yeah, perfect. Well, I'll tag you as well, so people can find you. And we're going to do the Patreon thing next. I'll record that in a minute, but if people can go and check that out as well if they want to hear more.
Excellent.
Get to my quick fire questions.
Yeah, excellent. Sounds fun.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with me. Thank you for giving us all those answers and all that social media knowledge.
Oh no, thanks for having me, and thanks to anybody who made it this far listening to me totally geek out about marketing.
No, I bet you people are going to find that so useful. It's so good. Yeah, well, that's it for this episode. So thank you for listening, and I'll speak to you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Mind Your Business. Head over and follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Mind Your Business Podcast to see everything that we've been chatting about in this episode. If you're enjoying the podcast, please be sure to subscribe and drop us a review wherever you listen to help us spread the word. If you fancy getting access to some exclusive interviews, polls, forums and more, or if you're a small business looking to advertise, head over to our Patreon now. See you next week.